In this video example, we are going to talk about style and color, basically all the ways that you can use MetaLocator to make sure that your store locator perfectly matches the colors, fonts, and other styles that you find on your own website. This is a really important step to making sure MetaLocator looks like a seamless part of your website. One of the easiest ways that you can help the locator match your website is by the primary and secondary colors. Most of the templates provided by MetaLocator leverage only the primary and secondary color settings in order to colorize all the elements in the locator, including the buttons, links, and marker icons. And so in order to do that, let's go to Style and Color. And under Primary Color, we can manually enter or choose a color. In this example, I'm going to choose a bold red for my primary color. And then I'm going to choose a secondary color that is a little bit off of that, just a little pinkish. And so now that we've got our primary and secondary colors chosen, notice everything that is not either white or black has been updated to the appropriate color. The other really important element to making sure that your locator looks like your website is the font. And by default, we use Bootstrap's long font list that works very well in all devices, but of course if it doesn't look like your website, that might look a little different to end users. And so you can choose from this list. It includes the standard web fonts, but then it also includes a list of about 250 Google fonts. If you find that your particular font is not listed there, there's an article at support.metalocator.com that will show you exactly how to adjust the locator with a custom font. The other thing with font is the size, and so you can adjust the font by making it very small, as you see here. Of course, you want to make sure that it is still readable. Font weight is another aspect, so you could do like a very light font or a bolder font. Aside from font, the other element is the button style, and so here we can see that the buttons have rounded corners, and there's lots of other ways to change buttons in MetaLocator, but one of the elements that you can change is the border radius. The border radius affects more than the buttons. You'll see this curved edge on, for example, the zip code form isn't perfectly square. Notice the corners are kind of rounded. Same thing with the button. Same thing with these individual results. Those are all controlled by this global border radius setting. If you want to, for example, make your buttons perfectly square, you can change that border radius to 0. And then notice, of course, the results, the category search, the search button, email button, and these individual results have all gone perfectly square. I can also kind of blow that out. I can make it rather pill-shaped, and even going further, I think 3 gets a little bit extreme, but that controls the global border radius. And so the other ways that you can control style in MetaLocator are not only under style and color settings, but in the individual results, you can choose the styles of individual elements in the results. So I'm going to click over to results and expand the list setting. Let's go down, for example, to the website link here. And that is the link element here, as indicated by the fact that it's highlighted in yellow. I can expand the link field to show the options available there. And you'll see a few styles in here. I'm going to go ahead and clear these out. These are Bootstrap styles that come with the template. They give it a little bit of margin, and they also give it a secondary button class. What I'm going to do is leverage some of these off-the-shelf styles. Let's just look at a few of these. We have primary outline button, primary, secondary outline button, success outline button, warning. Some of these names might not make any sense until you look at the names of these colors under style and color settings. So primary color, secondary color, the success color, and then if you go down further here, you'll see info, warning, danger, dark, light, etc. All these names come from the Bootstrap CSS library that's used by MetaLocator. It's a very popular front-end library. And so primary and secondary refer to colors that you might choose when a particular user interface element is in a primary role. For example, a primary call to action, or the first thing they're supposed to click, like a search button, or other things that should draw attention. Secondary is similarly going to be often shown in a secondary or subordinate role. Further still, a warning color should have probably a bold red. The info color might have something neutral like a blue. And so if we go back to results and we look at some of the styles that are available, let's change this to a success button. Now that we're going to see that that's going to correspond to whatever color we chose for success, which happens to be green. So it doesn't have to be green though. You can go back here and you can change success to something like, I don't know, a cool blue if you wanted to. And so those colors can, and those color names can be used throughout your locator. Let's look at a couple other styles here. So let's look at a secondary outline button. So now it's a secondary color, but instead leveraging an outline button. Some of the other pieces you can look at here, these are all button classes we've been exploring as indicated by this heading here. But you can also look at display options, like if you want to use the style button to hide a certain element. You can various effects that might give it a drop shadow. You can have specific styles related to the font. So if you want to make a particular item bold or change the text alignment. Positioning, you can push things off to the left and to the right, and you can also give it a top and bottom margin. Some other elements like controlling size and such. If you are a web developer, you might recognize some of these short ones like MR2, MB2. Those are all Bootstrap classes, so you can type in any Bootstrap class directly in that styles dropdown. And so that is a good outline of how the styles are controlled. As long as we're here, one of the other style elements is how the button is includes a particular icon. This icon leverages the Font Awesome library, and you can see that FA stands for Font Awesome. FA link, that's where this little chain icon, that's the name of that icon. If I click on this little folder, I can choose from hundreds of other icons. And if I click on any of those, notice it updated that to FA ambulance. And so when this reloads, we should see now that we have a little little ambulance icon listed for our results. The other item to mention for styling is back under Style and Color. If you are a web developer and you want to author custom CSS, this is what our design team does when we are implementing a custom design for an enterprise customer. But you have the ability to author custom CSS in here. And they typically start with main.MetaLocator because everything is inside the main.MetaLocator element. And if you don't know what this is, don't worry. This is only for advanced developers. So background color red, that would allow me to apply a red background color. So notice that became red. The other thing that's cool here is you can substitute variables that are connected to settings. So I can say %% theme color primary. And that will mean that that background color attribute will always get substituted with the whatever I've chosen for the primary color. And so when we're developing templates, that's what we use. And that would mean that any user who came in later on wanted to make some changes, you could make sure that they wouldn't have to go in this CSS. They could just use the color pickers. And so that's a good overview of how styling is approached in MetaLocator. Really the most important parts are the primary color, the secondary color, and the various options that are available under results, these styles. And then of course make sure you choose your fonts appropriately. And then finally, if you're a web developer, you can author whatever CSS you need to in this result here. That is hopefully a good overview of the style options available in MetaLocator.